Okay. So, health tayo ngayong week 8. So, sabi nga in the previous lesson, you have already learned and analyzed the factors that affects one's attitude and practices related to sexuality and sexual behavior. You also experience assessing your health attitudes and analyze the importance of sexuality to family health. Okay. So, now let us talk about the teenage issues and concern. So, but before we move on to the discussion of this topic, I have here a video presentation for you, class. So, let's watch this.
How do we learn who we are? Do we decide for ourselves? Is it shaped by those around us? Or is it a little bit of both? From a young age, we are taught what is acceptable behavior and what isn't. This may look different for boys and girls depending on individual families and cultures. However, boys and girls have unique pressures put on them to look, act, and talk in certain ways that are in line with what is considered appropriate for their particular sex. Gender is a term used to describe the expectations for boys, masculine, and girls, feminine. Gender is also how you feel on the inside. Can you think of a time when you felt pressured to act a certain way? Maybe you felt discriminated against or left out because you are a boy or a girl. This is Megan. Ever since she was little, she felt different. She never felt like a girl. She didn't want to wear dresses and always felt more like her boyfriends than her girlfriends. She started dressing a little more masculine because that felt better for her. Even though some people made fun of her, she had a few friends that stuck by her the whole time. Megan started going by just M and preferred friends to refer to her as he. It was a process, but M's counselor helped him through it. Some people feel like their biological self doesn't match how they feel inside. They may feel that the opposite gender, both genders or no gender, is more fitting for them than the gender associated with the biological parts they were born with. Some people who experience this don't necessarily feel like they were born in the wrong body, but some people do. It is important to be kind to people who are learning more about themselves and trying to express who they are. It's a difficult place to be in, but know that help is available. Counselors can help you work toward accepting your true self and being proud of who you are.
Okay. So, this video talks about gender identity. So, gender identity yung pinag-uusapan dun sa video. Who is Megan? Si Megan daw po ay isang teenager. Pero hindi niya gusto yung sarili niya as tinatawag na babae. He prefer to call as M or male or he. So, na-experience niya na ma-discriminate ng mga ibang tao because the way na manamit siya, yung way ng pakikitungo niya sa iba, mas prefer niya yung mga lalaking kaibigan kaysa sa mga babaeng kaibigan. Pero other than that, sabi nga kahit na nadi-discriminate siya, pinagtatawanan siya ng iba, marami pa ring mga kaibigan niya ang sumusuporta sa kanya. Marami pa ring kaibigan niya ang tinatanggap siya kung sino siya. And isa sa mga nilalapitan niya para ma-open yung kanyang sarili is ang guidance counselor nila. So, from this video, we will move on to our discussion. Sabi nga, teenage or teenager or adolescent is a fundamental stage of life that each human being passes through. Some people face this period of their life actively and positively, while the others face many problems, dilemmas, and difficulties. So, this depends on the surrounding these young adults live in, their parents, their friends, their living conditions, their education, and many other factors. So class, as you grow older, ayan. So as you grow older, class, you will discover a lot about yourself, your sexuality, your gender preferences, your sexual behavior, and your sexual orientation. Certainly, these are influenced by several factors in our lives. Fortunately, most adolescents enjoy good physical and mental health. However, as you go along with your life, you become too curious, experimental, exploitive, that result in some issues and concerns that need to be addressed. Maraming mga kabataan ngayon ang hindi naiintindihan ang sarili nila. Dahil hindi nila naiintindihan ang sarili nila, they go on experimenting, exploiting, exploitative, curious. So, dito nagre-result ng mga iba't ibang issues and concerns. And the most common teenage concerns and issues nowadays are the following. First is the identity crisis. Second, the sexual identity and sexual behaviors. And the third is premarital sex leading to teenage pregnancies and abortion. Now, let's talk about first the identity crisis. This is one of the major, or sabihin natin, sige, okay lang. This is the major problem or issues na talagang kinaharap ng mga kabataang tulad nyo. So the term identity crisis was first used by developmental psychologist and psychoanalyst Erik Erikson. He established the ideas of adolescent, identity, crisis as well as midlife crisis, believing that personalities are developed by resolving crises in life. Class, if you are experiencing an identity crisis, you may be questioning your sense of self or identity. Ay yung itatanong mo sa sarili mo, who am I? Sino ba ako? Ano ba yung purpose ko sa buhay? Ano ba yung role ko dapat sa buhay? This can often occur due to big changes or annoyance in life, or due to factors such as age or advancement from a certain stage, or for example, school, work, or childhood. Now, hindi nyo pa naiintindihan, pero kasi sa totoo lang, dumadaan kayo sa point ng identity crisis. Hindi nyo pakilala masyado yung sarili niyo. That's why we're talking about this. That's why we need to discuss this. Now, here are the signs of an identity crisis para malaman natin kung kayo ba talaga ay nasa stage ng identity crisis. Inaalam kung sino ka ba talaga. Having an identity crisis is not a classifiable condition. Now, here are the signs you may be experiencing an identity crisis. First, you're questioning who you are. Overall or with regards to a certain outlook in life, such as a relationship, age, or career. Parang, sino ba ako? Bakit babae ako pero bakit ayoko magsuot ng pambabaeng damit? Ano ba talaga ako? Hindi naman ako lesbian, hindi naman ako tomboy. So that is an example of questioning who you are. Second is you're experiencing great personal conflict due to the questioning of who you are or your role in society. Third, you're questioning things such as your values, kung ano yung halaga mo sa buhay, spirituality, beliefs, interests, or career paths that have a major impact on how you see yourself. For example, babae ka pero you want to be a soldier. 'Di ba? So, you're searching for more meaning, reason, or passion in your life. So that is the sign of an identity crisis. Naguguluhan ka pa, marami ka pang tanong sa isipan mo. Okay. So, it is completely typical to question who you are. Okay lang yan. Since people change throughout their lives. However, when it commences affecting your daily thinking, na lagi mong iniisip yan, or functioning, you may be having a crisis of identity. Whatever the case, all adolescents do find themselves defining and deciding upon who they are. Sino ka ba talaga? As they are given more opportunities to be self-directive and autonomous during the transition of adulthood. Now, sino makakatulong sa atin? Of course, parents ang ating unang dapat lapitan. Pero may mga kabataan na hindi talaga kayang harapin or mag-open up sa mga magulang. Plus, parents need to create an atmosphere. Parents need to create an atmosphere of safety and openness whereby adolescents feel comfortable sharing their perception and feelings without fear of judgment. Such a relationship class will foster the types of conversation that will support adolescents through their transition, whatever the level of challenges or crisis. But sometimes, sa totoo lang, reality check, may mga parents na pag may mga kabataan na nag-open up sa kanila, diyan dumadating sa point na sasabihin na, bata-bata mo pa, yan na ang nasa utak mo. But if the parents create an atmosphere of safety and openness, magiging komportable yung bata without the fear of judgment. Kaya lang sabi ko nga reality check, some of the parents ay hindi sila ganun open sa mga anak nila. That's why nagkakaroon ng mga kabataan na mas malapit sa kanilang mga kaibigan, mas nag-open up sila sa mga kasama nila sa school o kaya kung nagtatrabaho sa labas ng bahay, mga kabarkada nila, katrabaho nila. And sometimes kapag nasa school, ang talagang labas lang siya ng mga hinanakit niya is sa guidance counselor or sa teacher. Do'n lang siya nakapag-open. Meron nga akong estudyante, sabi ko nga sa inyo before, na never siya nagsabi sa parents niya kung sino talaga siya. Pero ipinapakita niya sa school yung totoong siya, which is siya ay gay. Now, let's talk about sexual identity and sexual behavior. This is the next one. When we say sexual identity, it is how one thinks of oneself regarding whom one is romantically or sexually interested. On the other hand, sexual behavior refers to actual fleshy acts performed by the individual. Sexual identity and sexual behavior are closely related to sexual orientation. They are distinguished from sexual identity and the character or personality of an individual. When we say sexual orientation, it refers to romantic or sexual attractions toward persons of the opposite sex or gender, the same sex or gender, to both or more than one gender or no one. So that is sexual orientation. Refers to romantic or sexual attraction. Yung feelings mo sa opposite sex or gender mo or kahit hindi, kahit sa same sex mo, same sex or gender or to both. Now, let's talk about sexual identities. Here are the sexual identities na dapat malaman ninyo. First is the heterosexuality. Heterosexuality refers to a pattern of attraction to persons of the opposite sex. Men who are attracted to women and women who are attracted to men are heterosexual. While bisexual describes a pattern of attraction to both males and females or to more than one gender. So, attracted siya sa babae, attracted din siya sa lalaki, that is bisexual. Next is homosexuality. Homo means same. So, it describes a pattern of attraction to other persons of the same gender. So the term lesbian is commonly used to refer to homosexual women, and the term gay is commonly used to refer to homosexual men. Although gay is sometimes used to refer to women as well. Then, next is LGBTQIA+. Ayan, aware kayo dyan, alam niyo yan. So, it is an initial that stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual. A plus sign meant to cover anyone else who is not included. So now, isa-isahin natin yan. So alam na natin kanina, na-discuss ko na ang lesbian and gay. So when we say lesbian, is relating to homosexual women or to homosexuality in women, while gay is a homosexual man. And bisexual and transgender. Pag sinabi natin bisexual, sabi ko nga kanina, it is a person who is sexually attracted to both men and women. While transgender are people whose gender identity is different from the gender they were taught to be at birth. So, nakikita niyo po ba yung nasa picture? This is Cherise Pempenko. And now, siya po ay si, ano na pangalan niya ngayon?
Jake Cyrus po.
Jake Cyrus. So, transgender, sometimes they undergo surgery to change their sex or they take hormone pills for transgender male to female or female to male. Then next is the queer. Ayan. Queer is a word that describes sexual and gender identities other than straight. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people may all identify with the word queer. Queer is sometimes used to express that sexuality and gender can be complicated. It may change over time. It may not fit neatly into either or identities like male or female, gay or straight. For example, male siya. Talaga, bata siya. As time goes by, na-identify niya ang sarili niya as gay because he have a feelings to the same sex. But as time goes by, nag-change siya again into a male identity. So, hindi niya masabi na gay siya, hindi niya masabing straight siya. Nagkagusto siya sa babae, that is pansexual, pero pansexual means na kung ako lalaki, pero may gusto ako sa tomboy, that is pansexual. So, that is queer. Masasabi natin queer na hindi mo ma-identify kung ano ka talaga. Alam mong lalaki ka, pero hindi ka straight na lalaki kasi may gusto ka sa same sex. Or may gusto ka sa, halimbawa, ikaw lalaki, may gusto ka sa tomboy. So, yan yung tinatawag nating queer. Hindi mo ma-identify kung nasaan ka talaga. Okay? Then, next is intersex. Ayan. So, maraming nagtatanong kung ano ba talaga yung sinasabi nating intersex. So, intersex is a general term used for a variety of situations. Ayan. So, intersex is a general term used for a variety of situations in which a person is born with reproductive or sexual anatomy that doesn't fit the boxes of female or male. So for example, yung picture na yan, that is Alex. Lalaki po si Alex, pero ang katawan niya ay parang babae. Minsan napagkakamalan siya na tomboy. So, sabi nga dito, when we say intersex, it is a general term used for a variety of situations in which a person na pinanganak siya ng may ganitong reproductive or sexual anatomy, pero hindi siya nag-fit as female or male. Di ba? Hindi niya masabi, babae ba ako or lalaki. So, this is Alex na nagpa-check up siya. And the doctor said, she is intersex. Nakakategorize siya sa intersexuality. So, sabi ko nga, for example, siya ay isang lalaki, pero yung hubog ng katawan niya is babae. Kasi si Alex ay mas mataas, merong hormone ng babae sa katawan niya. So, for example, lalaki siya, pero na-build yung kanyang breast, 'di ba? Lumalaki yung dibdib niya. Or for example, sa ibang situation naman, babae siya, pero wala siyang matres or tinatawag na bahay bata. Or halimbawa, lalaki naman siya, meron siyang tinatawag nating penis, pero meron siyang reproductive system ng babae, which is meron siyang fallopian tube, may matres siya, or tinatawag nating womb. So that is intersex. Maraming intersexual ngayon na tao, pero hindi natin nakikita, hindi natin nalalaman. Pero alam nila sa sarili nila that they are intersex. Okay. So kasama sila sa LGBTQIA. And then the last one is the asexual. Ayan. Asexual is a person who is not sexually attracted to anyone. So asexual is the lack of sexual attraction to others. Walang feelings, walang butterfly sa stomach, walang feelings or attraction to anyone. Same sex, or opposite gender, wala siyang interest or a low interest in sexual activity. So some people consider asexuality to be their sexual orientation and others describe it as an absence of sexual orientation. It is common for asexual people to have romantic but not sexual attraction to others. They may identify as hetero, homo, bisexual, or panromantic. Others are aromantic, that is, they feel no romantic attraction to other people. In other words, when we say asexual, there is the absence of sexual orientation or feelings or romantic feelings to anyone. For example, ako, straight akong babae, pero hindi ako or never ako na-attract sa kahit sino when it comes to feelings na in love or may romantic feeling. Walang ganun sa nararamdaman ko. May mga tao na na-experience ito na bakit gano'n? Kahit anong gawin ko, never kong na-feel na may nagustuhan akong tao. Attractive siya pero hindi siya attractive para sa akin. So may mga taong gano'n na kine-question nila yung sarili nila, ano ba yun? May kulang ba sa sarili ko? May kulang ba ako? So, merong mga tao talaga na nagtatanong, nag-a-undergo ng therapy, nagtatanong sa mga psychiatrist kung ano ba yung talaga nararamdaman nila. So, they are classified as asexual. Kahit anong gawin, na wala pa rin silang nararamdaman na kahit anong feelings or attraction sa iba. Okay. So, mas naintindihan niyo po ba yung tinatawag nating sexual identities? Tinuturo ko 'to, tinatalakay natin 'to para maging open kayo when it comes to your identity. Because you as a student, as a teenager, na-experience niyo yung identity crisis pero hindi niyo pa alam na identity crisis na pala yun. As time goes by, nasa puberty stage kayo to adolescent stage, ayan, yun yung transition, maiintindihan ninyo kung ano talaga kayo. If you feel na talagang ito kayo, titigil na kayo dun sa questioning of yourself, which is tinatawag nating identity crisis. Kapag mas natanggap niyo na yung sarili niyo, sabi nga, human sexuality refers to your total self. And 'pag natanggap mo na yung sarili mo, 'pag nakilala mo na yung sarili mo, dito tataas yung self-confidence mo at dito mo maipapakita sa ibang tao na kaya mo at sino ka. Okay? So, may question ba tungkol dito sa natalakay natin before we go on to the next lesson?
Wala na po, ma'am.
Okay. So, wala. Aside from that, there is the premarital sex. When we say premarital sex, it is a sexual activity practiced by people before they are married. So, premarital means before marriage. So, it is a sexual activity practiced by people before they are married. Historically, premarital sex was considered a moral issue that was considered a sin by a number of religions. For example, yung mga tradition natin dati na bawal kayo magtabi sa kama, hindi kayo pwede pang magkaroon ng mga sexual intercourse or activities na hangga't hindi pa kayo kinakasal. So, yung mga kanununuan natin dati, mga lolo't lola natin, bawal hawakan yung kamay, never mo dapat hahawakan yung kamay hangga't di pa kayo kinakasal. So, yun yung mga tradisyon dati. But, since about the 1960s, it has become more widely accepted, especially sa mga Western countries, mga liberated countries, kung sabihin na natin. They are preferred to have live-in, kahit mag-boyfriend or girlfriend pa lang, okay lang sa kanila na magsama sa isang bahay. But when we talk about dito sa Pilipinas, aware pa rin ang lahat when it comes to premarital sex. At meron pa rin mga tao or mga family na they are they are against when it comes to premarital sex na kailangan bago muna ikasal, bago muna magtabi sa kama, kailangan ikasal muna. So the main issues when it comes to premarital sex is yung tinatawag nating teenage pregnancy. Pregnant teenagers face many of the same pregnancy-related issues as other women. There are additional concerns for those under the age of 15. Yan yung mga age nyo class, as they are less likely to be physically developed to sustain a healthy condition in giving birth. So, for girls aged 15 to 19, risks are associated more with socio-economic factors than with the biological effects of age. Risk of low birth weight, premature labor or premature baby, anemia or anemic, and preeclampsia are connected to biological age being observed in teen births even after controlling for other risk factors such as accessing prenatal. Yan yung mga na-experience ng mga kabataang babae na nabubuntis ng maaga. Lalo na kung hindi sila nagpapa-check up, maraming mga risk factor. Especially, maraming sakit ang pwedeng makuha ng mga bata, ng baby, kung hindi napapa-check up. Yan yung tinatawag na prenatal care. Now, teenage pregnancies, hindi lang sa babae, but also sa lalaki. Hindi lang babae nagdadala ng pagbubuntis, ganun din sa lalaki. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang ang babae ang makaka-experience ng mga social issues, including lower educational levels and poverty. For example, nalaman ng parents mo na nabuntis mo yung girlfriend mo. So, ikaw pwede kang as lalaki, patitigilan ka ng nanay mo, ng tatay mo mag-aral para magtrabaho. O yan, nabuntis mo yan, magtrabaho ka na, wag ka na mag-aral para buhayin yung pamilya mo. So, that is the social issues na pwedeng kaharapin ng teenage pregnancy. Sabi ko nga, hindi lang sa babae, but sa lalaki din. Now, teenage pregnancy in developed countries, yung mga Western countries, is usually outside of marriage. Hindi na sila kinakasal. But it is often associated or always associated with social stigma. For example, makaka-experience sila ng social discrimination sa TikTok. Meron dun mga sa TikTok na pinapakita, 28 pa lang siya pero may 12 years old na siyang anak. So, maraming mga nasa comment section na nagsasabi, ay, bata-bata mo pa, nagpabuntis ka na agad. So, that is what you call social discrimination or social stigma. And getting pregnant at a young age oftentimes causes teenage mother to do abortion. Yung mga talagang hindi nila kayang paalam sa parents nila, ayaw nila mabuntis agad because siguro hindi naman talaga plano, hindi talaga ginusto, they tend to do abortion. When we say abortion, it is an intentional procedure to end a pregnancy. It uses medicine, umiinom ng mga gamot, or surgery to remove the fetus and the placenta from the uterus. In other words, abortion results to the intentional killing of an innocent child because of your reckless action. So that is an overview for the premarital sex. May question ba kayo, class?
Wala po, ma'am.
Okay, so kung wala na mga katanungan, I will give you an activity related kung paano niyo makikilala yung sarili ninyo pa. So, for this activity, help shape my identity. What you're going to do in your notebook, in your activity notebook or sa papel ninyo, fill in the diagram. Nakikita niyo itong diagram na to na nasa screen. Yung your name, kopyahin niyo mismo yan po yung diagram. So, fill in the diagram with any information about your identity. For example, ayan, sa bilog na to, friendly. O kaya, sunod nyo dito, mainitin ang ulo. Ganyan. Mad at all times, mga ganon. And you have to write your name at the center. Ayan. Your name at the center. Then also, after matapos yan, also answer the questions below. This is one. How did you find the activity? Number two, did it help you in knowing your identity very well? And number three, have you ever thought of the changing the qualities and identities you have written in the diagram and why? So yan yung mga gagawin nyo for activity number one. O may magtatanong kung pwedeng Tagalog. Pwede po Taglish. Sa lahat po ng activity sa MAPI, pinapayagan ko po na hindi straight English, pero Taglish pwede. Huwag lang puro Tagalog. Okay? And for activity number 2, this will be your performance task. This will be your performance task. What I can do, speak up. Make 3 to 5 paragraphs essay on no to premarital sex. Below are guide questions to accomplish the activity. Number 1, as a youngster, what are you going to do to prevent these things to happen? Number 2, are you going to speak up to your family if certain concerns arise? Or will you go with the flow and do the same things as well? And for number 3, what do you think is the role of your family and parents in preventing these things to happen? So this will be your performance task. Gagawa ka ng 3 to 5 paragraph essay tungkol sa premarital sex. No to premarital sex. Na dapat itong tatlong question na to nakapaloob dun mismo sa essay mo. Tandaan, ito po ang performance task. Ito lang po ang performance task sa health. Nagkakaintindihan po ba?
Yes po.
Okay, yes. Prince, may tanong?
Nasa Google Classroom yan, ma'am.
Yes po. Ayan, posted na siya sa Google Classroom nyo ngayon. Nandyan na po yan ngayon. And then, this class, itong ating online class, itong Google Meet class natin ngayon, I recorded to and I will post this later sa ating GCR or Google Classroom. Nakakaintindihan po ba? Again, activity 1, this is written works sa notebook or sa papel gagawin. And then activity number 2, this is your performance task. Sa papel nyo din to gagawin. Yes, Ninya?
Ma'am, yung sa activity 1 po, yung parang ugali po namin yung isusulat dun sa mga circle.
Oo, yes. Kung ano ka, ilagay mo dyan. Friendly ka ba? Bugnutin ka ba? May tantrums ka ba? Nagwawala ka? Maganda ka? Mabait ka? Lagi ka nagpipray? Kung ano yung information about your identity, ilalagay mo dyan. Let's end this meeting, but always check your MAPI Google Classroom every day for the updates of lessons, written works, and performance tasks. Okay, to end this meeting, let's have a closing.
Please bow your heads and let us pray. Dear God, we thank you for this wonderful day, sharing your love with our teacher and classmates. Thank you for the strength and excellence you gave us to learn and understand our lessons. Thank you to our teachers, parents, and classmates who shared to us the joy of learning. Amen.
And that is all for today. Thank you and always keep learning. Goodbye, everyone.